definitely, like you said, testing. And then with TikTok ads or any like sort of really visual ads, there's a lot more maybe variables into those testing. So when it comes to running those tests, how many would you recommend running at a time? Do you test like multiples at the same time? I assume that probably also plays into the ad budget as well.
Yeah, we usually do between 6 and 9 creatives a week. If we launch 6 at once or spread it between like 4 and 4, twice a week, depends on the budget. Usually if it's a lower budget, I like to kind of like launch 5 at a time, for example, and then 4 to 5 at a time, and then just have them run for a week or so, because obviously you won't get as much data, and you need to be sure that the data is accurate, right? Like if your product costs $100 and this ad has spent 110, you don't know if your conclusion is actually correct, because the second purchase might be just $10 around the corner. I think between 6 and 9, I usually run between 3 and 5 at a time. To me, it's just like that sweet spot where each ad usually gets enough chances to get exposure. There's enough variety to have different things, different type of creatives and stuff.
TikTok, you have heard about it, you've thought about it, you heard it is the most amazing thing that you absolutely have to get on now and not sleep on it. But if you're anything like me, you might enjoy your time on TikTok, but you don't necessarily know how to get into the ad piece or even where to start. So I am so stoked to be able to interview Sven Muchow. I'm butchering it, but you allowed me to Americanize your name, and I thank you for it. He is the founder CEO of Muchow Marketing, and we connected on LinkedIn, which that is an awesome place to be. I love the connections I made on LinkedIn, specifically around TikTok ads, because that is your specialty. So I'm really excited to dig into the nitty-gritty today, all about how to run TikTok ads specifically for e-commerce. But first off, I would love for you just to give a really quick introduction to yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into TikTok ads.
Yeah, so I'm Sven Muchow, however you want to pronounce it. Really, my last name doesn't matter to me that much in pronunciation. I got into TikTok ads about a year and a half ago, around January, February last year. I used to do Facebook and Google ads before that, and then kind of jumped the bandwagon if you want so, and specialized in TikTok ads. I've been running that for 7 and 8-figure e-commerce businesses since. E-commerce business, product-led. Yeah, so we've been in that 1.5 years. We now started doing Facebook again as well, because we just saw really good results by other agencies reusing our content, but we wanted to all bring it under one roof again. Better results overall. Yeah, I got into TikTok pretty much since I've started being an entrepreneur. I've just kind of listened to Gary Vee. So I started by he said, post on LinkedIn, post on TikTok. So I was like, okay, post on LinkedIn, post on TikTok. So I posted on TikTok a bunch for a year or whatever, and on LinkedIn as well. And then TikTok never completely clicked for me, the organic side. For me, I think it's just my presence in TikTok. My presence in front of the camera is different than on a podcast or something. So I decided, okay, kind of ads and, did this freelancing, and then posted about TikTok on LinkedIn last January or February or so, where I've been posting for maybe a year already consistently on LinkedIn. I got a lot of traction. So I decided, okay, I want to specialize in that because it's cool, it's creative. It's a lot more creative than just Google ads with keywords and stuff. And it translates into Facebook as well. But Facebook you basically need a master's in IT and UI design and all that. So I wanted to start with something simpler. And went around focusing on TikTok first, then going back to Facebook after, taking all the good stuff, creative focus and all that, which is all TikTok, and take that back to Facebook, and it's been working pretty well. So
that is amazing. That's such a cool journey, getting into something that, like you said, you're really good at. I'm the opposite. So I enjoy a TikTok as a consumer. I don't like how much I enjoy TikTok as a consumer. I probably deleted the app 3 times and then re-downloaded it because it's just way too, I like the memes. So I'm totally in it for the memes. But TikTok, it's kind of one of those, again, I think there's a lot of consumerism on there, but it definitely has interesting, or so I have heard, again, I'm not in that world, the organic piece of it. But I think it's really interesting, now that it has kind of an ad platform, I guess maybe just to start off, everyone's heard that you should take advantage of this opportunity. But, as somebody who's actually in it and is taking advantage of the opportunity, where are you seeing the benefit, or why shouldn't someone sleep on TikTok ads? Maybe I'll get to it.
Yeah, there's 2 sides to one. I see a lot of people out there, hardcore, people new in business or whatever, that just say, you have have to do Amazon, you have to do Facebook ads, you have to do like whatever service they promote. They say you have to do this. I don't think that's true. You don't have to run TikTok ads, you don't have to run Facebook ads or anything, right? But I think especially for bigger businesses or businesses that are trying to grow, it lowers the risk because obviously, same as with organic, Facebook is there now or used to be there before Reels, I guess, in terms of organic. Same happens with cost for ads, right? Like CPMs rise and whatever happens, maybe your Facebook accounts get banned. Like I'm pretty sure everybody who has a Facebook ads account has gotten banned at least once. And it just diversifies the risk. Obviously, you show yourself to new demographics, like not necessarily just young people, because we have clients where the audience is pretty much only 35 plus or even 45 plus, and that's all the purchases we get, all from TikTok. But just showing up in front of people that don't use Facebook and Instagram as much, they use TikTok. Also, I think it's much more memorizable. Like if you see a user-generated content, like a funny video or something, you're much more likely to remember it than like the static ad on Facebook you see, which, yes, maybe it converts better sometimes, who knows, but, it just doesn't stay top of your mind as much. And it also makes it more shareable. I don't know the exact numbers on Facebook, but I know TikTok is highly shareable. For example, usually with good ads, you get like at least 10-to-1 ratio of likes and shares. So if you get 100 likes, you get 10 shares. That's an extra 10 people with like high intent people that you reach. Let's say the wife sees it, forwards it to another wife or to her husband or something, right? And then that's easier to remember. So it's like a lot of awareness and performances. I'd say no different from Facebook in general. Some businesses, TikTok works better, some Facebook works better, depends on the product. In general, the thing about nobody buys on TikTok is not what I've seen, because I've seen conversion rates of some clients on TikTok being higher than on Facebook. I've also seen the opposite. So it's really just like platform fit, diversifying your risk, and all those things. So I think that's important.
Yeah, that was a great rundown. And I'm sure with that, a lot of people are having questions. Like you were saying, like certain things work, certain things don't. And in every form of advertising, marketing in general, there's always some forms of testing, involved. But I'm sure a lot of people would be curious to know when it comes to, like, say, getting started on TikTok or testing TikTok ads, what kind of budgets do you recommend for starting off with?
I think it's the same for Facebook and TikTok as far as my knowledge goes. Is you don't want to find yourself in a spot where you can't afford to test, right? Like where you can't afford, you need a new creative or whatever it might be, right? You can only, let's say you have money saved up, your business went viral on TikTok, and you can afford to run ads maybe for 3 weeks. It might not be the best idea to start with ads in January, I'd say, for TikTok, because, you need room to test different things, get new creative, so, optimize your website and stuff. It's not like a button switch you turn on and then it works. So I think usually a good place to start is TikTok officially and Facebook too recommend 50 times your target CPA or your target, I think, AOV. I don't think it needs to be that high. We usually don't start with that much unless it's a really big brand and they want to go straight and ball and get results really fast. Obviously, the more you spend, the faster you learn. I think in general, though, you would want at least 15 to 20 conversions a week. Depends a lot on how much your average order value is, right? If you have a $200 product, I think 15 to 20 conversions a week is fine. If you have something that costs like $40, $50, so you just have a very high converting website, then it's probably more like 40 or so, 30, 40 plus. Then obviously as you see results, you scale up. And so I think like $100 minimum for any brand really. Under $2,500. I think it's the same for Facebook. Like if you want Facebook ads at $30 a day, it can make sense maybe, but you might as well pay an influencer. That's probably going to get you more reach, right?
Yeah, that's very true. And this is kind of me going a little bit off script, but definitely, like you said, testing. And then with TikTok ads or any sort of really visual ads, there's a lot more maybe variables into those testing. So when it comes to running those tests, how many would you recommend running at a time? Do you test multiples at the same time? I assume that probably also plays into the ad budget as well.
Yeah, we usually do between 6 and 9 creators a week. If we launch 6 at once or spread it between 4 and 4, twice a week, depends on the budget. Usually if it's a lower budget, I like to kind of launch 5 at a time, for example, and then 4 to 5 at a time, and then just have them run for a week or so, because obviously you won't get as much data and you need to be sure that the data is accurate, right? So if your product costs $100 and this ad has spent $110, you don't know if your conclusion is actually correct. because the second purchase might be just $10 around the corner. So yeah, I think between 6 and 9. I usually run between 3 and 5 at a time. To me, it's just like that sweet spot where each ad usually gets enough chances to get exposure, but also enough where there's enough variety to, you know, have different things, different type of creatives and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I assume at that point, like you were saying, like certain products do a little bit better on TikTok and then certain products otherwise. I mean, that's going to be in any ad channel. Like even with Amazon, like there's certain products they convert really well. The market loves them, so it's a lot easier to advertise versus ones that just maybe have lower conversion rates. It really depends on the product market fit. So I assume also testing so many different ad sets and so many different creatives, you can figure out very quickly. And then again, like you said, somewhat minimal budgets, like is this or is this not maybe the best fit, or does the brand have a better product that will work better for the channel?
Yeah, I think it's just the point where I've seen too many, like it's usually in the 6-figure range or so, where they like usually maybe a solopreneur, you know, they have like this whatever product it is, right, and maybe it's 6 figures or something like that revenue, right? It's not profit, and then it's just too early to run ads. Like you don't have the website, you don't have the ads, and super competitive. Like, you know, it's just very hard.
Or sometimes the inventory. I mean, we had one client that, I mean, no one put anything, no one sent in any products, but all of a sudden it got featured on the Today Show as like one of the products. And of course, who in the world can plan for that? And so absolutely blew out of stock within a couple of hours. So I'm sure you get people all the time saying like, oh, TikTok, everyone thinks TikTok, viral, lots of stuff. That's not always going to be the case. And that being said, if you're starting off, like you said, maybe a little bit more shaky, or haven't completely figured out maybe your inventory funnels or, you know, logistics and all of those things, not that you can't try it, but at that point you really don't want to blow up.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of brands like consistently going through Amazon in the beginning. Like let's say they try to get from that whatever, like making a full-time income and then like, you know, 6-figure scaling. I think Amazon is a great channel because I think it's not as risky as others in terms of like growing, and then it's relatively stable. Obviously margins are lower, but it's just, I think like Amazon influencers and just organic strategy. And then usually you add ads, I don't know what the markets, but let's say maybe at 200,000 north in yearly revenue, something like maybe 300, something like that, right?
That completely makes sense. Question on when you're, like you said, you have all these creative sets and you really want to diversify, you know, to really hedge and determine what works or what doesn't. How do you go about getting all these creatives produced?
This is for UGC TikTok specifically. We have in-house creators. So I source creators, in my case, from Twitter, and there's a huge UGC community. So UGC means user-generated content. Basically just like your ideal customers, or in this case, paid actors customers, are talking about your product. And I just posted about it, relatively easy on Twitter, like, hey, I'm looking for UGC creators. Here's what I need, 30 years old, whatever. Please retweet, comment your portfolio. Then you just look through the portfolios. And so I did that, like signed a bunch of them on a contract and everything, gave them some training, because that's very important in my opinion, because otherwise you just get random stuff. Like, you know, if I send you a product and you try to record a TikTok ad for it, probably wouldn't turn out as good because you don't know, like you've never dealt with, or like, you know, you just don't know what I want from you. Like, what's the brand specific? Like, what are they selling? What's the value and stuff? So we usually train them, script them, and then produce it in-house, get the raw footage, repurpose it. We did start using AI for voiceovers since everybody's on the AI hype. We use something called 11 Lab. Very good. Nobody can ever tell it's not a creator. It's actually like oftentimes better than voiceovers I get from creators, because I can choose like how much emotion and stuff to put behind it, and then just redo it 10 times if I think it doesn't sound good until it sounds right. But yeah, it's a Twitter to get your creators, and then you want to keep them long term. It's also TikTok Marketplace, which I personally haven't used much, because I think most portfolios there don't look as good. You need people that talk, right? Like, if you can't have an ad without somebody talking most of the time. If you just have trendy videos and somebody has 20,000 followers and you hire them based on that, you can tell you it's going to flop. So, you know, that's something to pay attention to. And that's how we create content, like in-house, long-term relationship, train your creators, make sure they get reps in, they know what you expect, so you don't run after them all the time, like, hey, can you redo this? Can you redo this? Can you redo that?
It seems seems to me, and like this is again coming from somebody who only consumes TikTok, but it seems like a lot of the kind of the TikTok brand, or at least the community or the general vibe, is very much like a super authentic, you know, that I would assume that that's also why user generated content, well, that tends to do better anyways. Like even with video testimonials, like for us on our website, we've chosen not to really edit those because, you know, they are just like, I mean, it's kind of the raw footage. It might be somewhat awkward. It doesn't have like beautiful overlays, but then again, you know, it seems more authentic. I mean, my personal opinion on it, but it seems like the vibe on TikTok is very much like if you try and, you know, like pull the wool over somebody's eyes or do something, like, I don't know. I mean, I've been in some of the comments. It seems like they kind of eat you alive for that.
No, yes, definitely. Like it needs to be authentic, like not too fake. Like of course it's an ad, so there's always like Facebook and TikTok gonna have negative feedback because people just like to shit on ads. But in general, it's like it's great because you have this relatable content for TikTok to advertise. Then we use it for Facebook, which does great stuff. We repurpose for Facebook right now, like the TikTok top performers are going crazy on Facebook as well. And then lots of brands we also then just put it up as testimonials on websites. And a lot of brands have this on their website, a little sticky video that's always at the bottom left of the testimonial. Or just you have an outdoor chair client, and for example, just take 3 different UGC videos. One is like, because it's a portable chair, one is on the porch, one is camping, one is on the beach. They showcase like all 3 different, you know, ways of using it in like a visual way. And since it's like a TikTok and ad, right, it hooks better too. Like it, you know, the hook is good, otherwise you wouldn't use it. It's really like you produce it once and you can use it in so many different ways to improve your business. Same for Amazon. I know Amazon, like the testimonial businesses, I think I've heard also booming where brands need those video testimonials, right?
Yeah, no, I like any sort of reviews or testimonials. And the thing that I have also noticed is that you notice so many platforms after TikTok came out kind of adopting that kind of TikTok, obviously with like with YouTube Shorts, or they're all shorts, but still the ones that perform best on those platforms also tend to be that kind of what you're talking about. It's like a hook, it draws you in. The first little bit has to be engaging, which has always been a factor in ads, right? You always have to snag them in the first little bit. But I would say definitely TikTok, especially because things move so fast. It's so easy just to fly through that feed. You got to get that first punch in.
That's the interesting thing. Like even if whatever TikTok platforms can in and out, but short form content is going to stay around for a while. No matter if Instagram goes away, Facebook goes away, TikTok, some new platform with short form content is probably going to come out right now because it's just what gets people what people want to see.
Yeah. Well, in today's fast-moving society, it's a little bit too easy to have a feed like that. I'll be honest. It keeps us engaged.
I deleted everything from my phone. I'm just trying to reduce the time and just stay on my laptop or stay offline.
To you. I might have to follow that in a little bit.
Except for Instagram, I will say. But there's not much interesting stuff on my phone anymore, especially LinkedIn. LinkedIn was my big... It wasn't even TikTok, it was LinkedIn. Took so much time, just threw it off. Screen time down by like 50% immediately.
Oh, goodness. I'm sure that would be even more for me. I love to talk about where you draft the traffic and then how you can measure like success of the ads. But first off, when it comes to like obviously someone sees it, they're hooked, they're interested, there's some form of link or something that you direct. I guess path to purchase. What does that look like in TikTok ads?
It's relatively similar to like Facebook ads as well. It's just usually landing page performs best. Try to test different landing pages. I know it's also possible with Amazon. Tracking that's a little harder. But like we usually run it directly to the website. And yeah, test different landing pages. There's formats as well. Like kind of like TikTok. I'm sure you've seen 3 reasons why such and such is a good product or whatnot video before. You can have the same as a landing page format. Like 3 reasons you need whatever the product is. And then usually you say like a problem. And then 3 ways it solves the problem and stuff. You can have kind of product pagey looking landing page with just like the price isn't shown right above the fold. You can have like more infomercial, all these different things, right? And you just try what works best. Obviously optimize that. For most starting brands that don't have the budget for that, I'd say homepage is probably the best. I think from what I've tested so far, usually homepage outperforms product page. I think just because it's more like, it's kind of, you have the ad and they just kind of want to know more and the homepage shows them that. Sometimes also product page does better. It really depends on the brand. I think usually homepage and ideally landing page. And then tracking, there's multiple ways. My go-to setup is usually triple whale. There's also Northbeam, which I haven't really worked with yet. Triple Whale, a post-purchase survey, because I always want to know from people, hey, where did you hear about us? Why did you buy from us? Like, what were your concerns before buying? Like, you can get, it's crazy how many information you can get just by asking 5 questions. Now you know where they heard about you, which is more accurate than all the pixels and stuff nowadays. You can ask, like, why they bought, so what's important to them. The objections on the next video of stability is an objection. You can go, hey, no, this is actually super sturdy, holds up to such and such pounds, right? All these things. And then something we've tested recently as well is what they call blood out, which basically just improves tracking again. I don't know the tech behind it. I just know it works. Specifically for TikTok, Facebook, and email in specific. That's usually my tracking. And then between platforms, I kind of check, okay, how much money did we spend per survey response? So let's say it cost me $40 for TikTok to get a response that says, heard about us on TikTok, which is easy to. Like, you just divide what you spend by however many responses say TikTok. And then let's say it's 45 on Facebook. And then platform tracking shows something completely different, right? Because Facebook over attributes, TikTok usually under attributes, so TikTok is usually a bit more return. Because also a lot of people go to Amazon because TikTok doesn't seem as trustworthy sometimes. So a lot of people go to Amazon to check the brand and then buy from there. And then you can just attribute it, okay, actually TikTok is doing better because people say they heard about you on TikTok, why would they lie? It's what comes to their mind. And the tracking can be off. So just compare okay, this is what the post-purchase survey says for Facebook and for TikTok. And I wish they had it for Amazon too. I don't know why they don't. It's such an easy thing. Like, one question, I literally just want to know where you heard about us. Maybe in the future.
Yeah, we'll see. Amazon definitely, it's a catch-22 with them because they've built the platform so everyone goes there because of the trust of Amazon. Because they want to retain that trust, they do definitely, there's a certain removedness that you have from the customer, which again, I get because they're like, we have so many sellers on our platform, we can't have them screwing it up with our customers, but at the same time, you're like, I'd love to get an email. Like, I get why they don't do it, but
like, where did you hear about us? It's not even driving them away from Amazon. It's just, why did you come to Amazon? It's actually even good for them because they know where their traffic comes from. But I mean, that's why in general, just look more at like blended ROAS, MER, like basically marketing budget divided by revenue we make. And if, let's say you double your spend on Facebook or TikTok and your revenue, goes up by whatever, more than that, then okay, there must be a lot of purchases coming from those platforms to Amazon. And then you can scale. So in the end, it's really just not looking as much at, okay, TikTok, Facebook, Google, or like, do we have room to push? Like, do we meet our overall business goal of spending this much money, making this much? And then just spending more or less based on that.
Yeah, it sounds like you, in a way, kind of zooming out and looking at the business as a whole. Like, is this profitable? Is this not profitable? Is our market spend sustainable? If it is or is not, where is it the most efficient? Double down on that. Kind of good general principles.
It's all about first party data, like the responses on post-purchase service, and so they're the ultimate truth, honestly, and then that kind of gives you guidelines, but that's about it.
Yeah, that was a great tip, and this has been an insanely great conversation. You have dropped so many gold nuggets about like software you're using or how you track it or how to go and get user-generated content. But it's not all created equal. Definitely someone like you who's been through and kind of knows what to do, how to direct the creator. That's some wonderful tips here. I'd love to just close out with the last question. If someone's listening and like, okay, that sounds amazing, I would love to get started. If someone was like, all right, first steps, what's that first step you would recommend a brand owner take if they wanted to start running TikTok ads?
So I think the first step is setting up what do you want out of this, kind of setting up a strategy. Obviously, you will need creators, which even with Facebook ads, you need anyways if you want TikTok ads now or not. Make sure they're high quality creators. Ideally, you train them, build a long-term relationship, and that you give them just instructions, because you can test, obviously, you can have different creators and train them, but you kind of want to test your theories like, hey, does this and this hook work well, or does like the social proof hook work well, does a negative hook work well, or a common hook or whatever. So you definitely want to be like precise with that, with the testing. What we do is we keep track of that. We have our system, naming system, and also like a sheet where we usually write down, okay, this is the creative, here's why we tested, here's what we learned. So yeah, you got to do all that. And I mean, obviously, if you don't want to do that, work with an agency, because after all, you're risking your money, right? So most bigger brands work with agencies for a reason, because they have limited amount of time. They can't hire 50 people to do stuff as well, or can't take care of creators and all this stuff too. And obviously, you have the risk of, okay, steep learning curve for any platform, really, right? So you don't want to start off from completely zero and then invest so much time and stuff to figure it out if you can afford to just, take the shortcut. It's like anything with business, like Amazon, I'm sure you've had it. People usually come to you because they want results, not because they can't do it themselves, but their results aren't as good and their results aren't as fast, and it just takes some time. And that way they can just focus on better things.
Yeah, definitely learned that myself as a business owner, and then also seen it in the clients that we end up onboarding. There's definitely this essence of, okay, I think I'm smart. Most business owners are super smart. So it's like, I'm sure any of them could figure it out, spend months and months trying to figure out, like, okay, how do I direct these creators? How do I get the hooks that I want? How do I test all this stuff? But then you have to also run your business at the same time. So we find that that's what a lot of brand owners are coming to us for. They're like, hey, even the ones that are running it themselves, as they look a step away from the role, they're like, we still need somebody driving innovation here. We still need somebody to keep up with the platform, and it either has to be me or the smartest one on the team, or I can just find somebody else and partner with them who is in this full time. They understand the marketplace. They've already paid for that learning curve, and then I can just, kind of take from their knowledge base and then leverage it for my business. So with that being said, for anyone out there who's like, this sounds amazing, I would love to at least get to know a little bit more about you, what you do, maybe get in touch with you. Where can people do that?
Yeah, so either on LinkedIn, I'm super active on LinkedIn, Sven Muchow, on our website, which is also right now my first name, last name.com, so svenmuchow.com. We also have some free resources there for people that want to try themselves, and top performing hooks we found. I think right now it's a collection of 66, and structures, other guidelines, best practices, example ads that we've produced for clients, like some case studies and such. So simply through the website, or if you're a LinkedIn user, through LinkedIn.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely make sure to link all of that below. So go check Sven out on LinkedIn as well as his website if you're interested. Sounds like that is actually the best place to start. I'm going and getting some free resources there to kind of get an idea of what is working now. So as always, I really appreciate you coming on. This has been amazing, and thanks so much for sharing your knowledge with everyone.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.